Trade Guitars is giving away this Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul to one of you. How to enter? Subscribe to Play and Trade Guitars on YouTube, and we'll give it away when we hit 50,000 subscribers.
Hey, for Play and Trade Guitars, I'm John, that's Zach behind the camera. We got to check out the brand new Gibson Billie Joe Armstrong Les Paul Juniors. Beautiful finishes, ebony, and also that silver mist. It does include that pink protector case with the cheetah lining, which looks fantastic, but it begs the question, at $21.99 USD, is it worth your money? I got to plug it in and play it. I took it apart on the bench, and I'll tell you everything that you need to know about this guitar. If you're in the market for the Billie Joe Armstrong or any other gear or guitars, please use our purchase link to buy. When you buy gear using our link, you support our channel directly. Also, at the end of this video, I'll give you a final grade. So stick with me through the performance demos, the key takeaways, and at the end, I'll give you the final score to let you know if this guitar is worth your money. So let's dive in. Number one, if you're somebody who's been begging to have a slimmer neck instead of that baseball style fat 50s neck typically found on the Les Paul Junior, you're in luck. 1.67 inches on the nut, 0.79 inches at the first, 0.86 at the 12th. Definitely a slim taper. That's a big deal because a lot of people who love the simplicity of that slab mahogany body with that single dog ear P-90 of the Les Paul Junior have been begging for a slimmer version of the neck, which can get pretty fat in the typical run. Number two, the price at $21.99. Yes, you get a fancy new pink case with a cheetah lining, but guess what? They've done this guitar before, right? And the thing is, the regular production Les Paul Junior at $15.99 begs the question, is it worth your money? What are you getting in addition to the regular run? That would be things like that pink case with the cheetah print and also the Billie Joe Armstrong signature on the truss rod cover. You can gauge whether that's worth it to you or not. Also, that slim taper neck on this guitar is particularly of interest because of the fact that you can't find it on the regular production run. The guitar has a beautiful piece of rosewood for the fretboard. At this price, I kind of wish they shook it up and went with a piece of ebony or something, but the rosewood does look nice and plays great. That in conjunction with the slim taper 60s neck made it a nice playing experience. Also keep in mind the Les Paul Junior is a simple rock machine. That means you'll have one dog ear P-90, which has a screaming hot output. Flipping on the multimeter, we have a hot P-90 DC lead and 16.5 ohms, volume and tone. The P-90 DC is hum canceling, and it's a modernized version of the Sidewinder dual-coil technology that was developed by Seth Lover in 1958. And it was really cool to hear what that could do when you both pushed it hard and also rolled the volume or the tone knob off. And speaking of controls, there's just that volume and tone knob, but you can do a lot with just those two switches. I love a simple guitar that only has a couple options, and this one screaming dog ear P-90 in bridge position I thought sounded fantastic. Under the hood, you'll find Gibson 500K pots and an upgraded orange drop capacitor, which is a nice touch. But again, pretty simplistic controls, not much to worry about. 22 frets, 12-inch Gibson radius. Other nice touches include those vintage double-line Gibson Deluxe Kluson style tuners. And while it's been available in the ebony finish before with that nice tortoiseshell pickguard, you also have this beautiful new silver mist, which looks really sharp. All right, let's hear some direct clean tones, and really, there's just one setting, but again, a lot can be done with just that volume. And in typical Billie Joe Armstrong fashion, let's push it through a Marshall JCM 800. Let's dirty it up and hear it in context. P-90 P-90, especially with this hot output, really has a nice snarl and grit. It pushes hard when you want to push it, and when you back off on the volume or the tone, it sweetens up and also has a great cleanup when you roll off that volume switch, and I really enjoyed that. Finally, I got to put the guitar through the paces, put it behind a track, let it sing in context. Let's see how it does when we let it rip and let it sing. Alright, so I definitely enjoyed playing this guitar. Let me give you the final score. I based my score on 3 main categories. I crunched the numbers for you, but really it's based on overall playability, overall sound, and overall value. And my score for the Billie Joe Armstrong Les Paul Jr. in this Gibson iteration comes down to 8.2. Not bad, but also keep in mind, I thought its simplicity lent to a higher score. The controls were nice and simple. The pickup sounded great. I like the high output. I like the fact that they're giving you the option to have a SlimTaper neck. But what is it that's detracting from this guitar? It's these main things. Number one, it's that double-edged sword of that neck shape. Me personally, if I'm playing a Les Paul Jr., I want that fat 50s neck. So it is a little strange to play a Les Paul Jr. with a 60s SlimTaper neck. However, I know a lot of people are looking for that. In my case, I think that's a little strange for a Les Paul Jr., so I have to pull a little bit away from the final score. Number 2 weakness, tuning stability. Anytime you have a wraparound bridge without any way to intonate it, it's part of the charm, but it's also kind of the nature of the beast. You're gonna have a little bit of tuning instability and intonation instability when it comes to that simplistic wraparound Gibson bridge. But what really knocks this down from an A-rated guitar, which I would otherwise probably rate this very high at an A, is comparables, price, and value. Because that's a big part of my category. I'm trying to help you find the perfect new guitar for you. But here's the thing, it's $500 more than the regular Gibson Les Paul Jr. And it begs the question, is it worth the extra $500 at this price point? You're not getting any extra case candy. The only Billie Joe Armstrong signature you're getting is on the truss rod cover. If you change the truss rod cover, you wouldn't even know that this was a Billie Joe Armstrong Les Paul Jr. I do love the new metallic silver mist, but at the end of the day, there are also some finish imperfections, and I knocked off a few points. Because if you look at the ebony finish, you can actually see a lot of unevenness. I don't know if they were moving too quickly, but a lot of raw mahogany showing through and a very uneven finish across the body and neck of the guitar, which you can see here. On the silver mist, you could actually see a lot of kind of browning around where the finish met the fretboard, and it just looked a little unfinished or strange overall. So I think I did have to knock a few points off for quality control, but really it does come down to price and value, because they're really up in the price for something they already had on the market. And frankly, I think the reason they did this is because if you checked the prices of the aftermarket Billie Joe Armstrong Les Paul Jr. that they've already released, that guitar is going for between $1,900 and $2,400. So I'm sure Gibson did their research, looked at the used prices and said, you know what? If those aftermarket guitars are going for that amount of money, we're gonna make a new iteration and we're gonna sell it at the same price. I think that's the main reason that this is priced at $2,199. It doesn't have as much to do with the comparable Les Paul Jr. at $1,599 with that Fat 50s neck. The biggest driving reason to grab this guitar over the off-the-shelf Les Paul Jr. is that SlimTaper 60s neck, which you can get on this iteration. So remember, if you're in the market for this guitar or any other gear, click to buy using our link because you do support our channel when you buy gear using our link. So thank you to all of you who have done that. And also remember to subscribe. We're giving away a Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul for real, and it's real close. So be in it to win it. Sign up using our Gleam entry link, subscribe, like this video, and we want to hear from you. Drop a comment, let us know what you think of the Gibson Billie Joe Armstrong Les Paul Jr., and let us know what guitar you're in the market for next. We can't wait to hear, and we'll keep bringing you demos and reviews on Play and Trade Guitars. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. I'm John, that's Zach behind the camera, and this is Play and Trade Guitars, where we play it and trade it. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for hanging out.